For the first time ever, I wanted to bring you a collection of different foliages and textures and forms. My inbox is literally full with people questioning whether they have a diseased rose or whether their growth habit is normal for this time of year. So I thought the easiest way of addressing the matter for you would be to put together this photographic identification. Laid out here on the dining table are 25 roses, many of which actually display different foliage types than their normal foliage that they display during the summer. You can see the array of different colours, textures and forms here on the table. And I wanted just to go through a few of these and show these. Now this is not all of the collection. There's over 115 David Austin roses here in the garden at North Lodge Cottage. However, this is 25 that are showing very, very different variations. Many people asking us whether they have a problem or whether they're actually normal. So let's go through a few of these. Don't forget that every single rose on the table here has an individual personal rose review, which you can now find either on Instagram, TikTok, or on YouTube. So please do take a look at that. Right, so the first one up here is Dame Judy Dench. You can see with a really, really dark olive green foliage and an ever so slightly burnt burgundy tip. The very, very telltale thick barbs backward facing on Dame Judy Dench. Next to her, already coming into flower, is the Lady Salisbury, that lovely deep olive green running through the foliage, which will slowly fade out to a very, very light fresh green as it comes towards flowering. Next to that, already in bud, is Malvern Hills with its telltale 2 pairs of true leaves and one at the end, so 5 in total, already coming up to flower. The new addition for the UK last year in 2023, Penelope Lively, displaying really, really lovely burgundy red tips with a deep olive green tinge. By far the most distinctive in all of the collection is Silas Marner, a previous #1 ranking rose with myself in 2022, an absolutely stunner at this time of year. Really, really burgundy red colours on the growth tips, very, very high gloss and dense sheen to the leaves, very, very attractive. Next to that, the very simple Kew Gardens with its very, very large, broad 3 leaves at the top and often 2 smaller ones at the very, very bottom of the leaf stem there. Next to it, Harlow carr, one of the very useful roses for growing in salt conditions or if you are on an exposed site. Really good for creating an informal hedge. You can see absolutely laced with tiny little barbs, which go hand in hand with this particular rose's amazingly strong fragrance. A discontinued or retired rose here in the UK, but very, very much worth mentioning. The beautiful colour of Munstead wood. A very, very deep scarlet with a pink tinge to the back of the leaves, laced with thorns, again a very highly fragranced rose, which flushes this olive green colour as we come towards flowering. Next to it, a beautiful pure white rose, Tranquility. Very, very light, fresh green foliage with a telltale burgundy leaf axil and veining through the actual leaves themselves. Again, a really, really high gloss sheen on that particular rose. Going up and proving sometimes it doesn't matter how large a rose is. Its foliage can sometimes actually be a little bit different. Vanessa Bell, one of the most compact in the David Austin collections, only reaching around 2.5 to 3 feet high, produces some of the largest and broadest foliage. You see, if I put my hand in there for some scale for you, very, very large indeed. Lovely light lime fresh green as it comes towards flowering and budding now. Next to it, a very highly ranking rose with myself. This one is Hyde Hall. Next to that, the very, very lovely light green foliage of the Lady Gardener. Always stays this colour, never changes colour whatsoever. A lovely fresh mid-green on the Lady Gardener. And next to that, for contrast, a small and compact rose, Anne Boleyn from David Austin Roses. A really heavy emerald green on this particular one. A very, very dark coloured stem and leaf axis on the particular rose, and a really high gloss sheens to the foliage as well. In contrast to her high gloss, the Queen of Sweden opens matte green with a very, very flat finish to the leaves. Always the same colour with a deep texturing and crinkling to the actual leaf itself, absorbing the light, making that one actually look very, very matte in its finish. Next to that, a climbing rose, Gertrude Jekyll, with its very large and broad foliage, producing leaves in pairs of 2, 4, 6 and 1 at the end, so 7 to a stem, already coming into bud. That one is Gertrude Jekyll. Over here, a really lovely compact little rose, always opening olive green. This one is Roald Dahl. Next to that, flame burgundy scarlet red tips of Portsunlight, a fabulous little rose which will flower very, very well in shade. Small and compact and perfect for growing in a pot. You can see this one has a multitude of colours running through its new foliage, but that burnt scarlet and red already displaying really beautifully. Next to that, the Lady of Shallot, which obviously this year took the front cover of the David Austin Rose catalogue. Very, very deep emerald green foliage from her. I'm going to pan across and go across to this, another new release from David Austin for 2023, Dannahue, one of the ones that spurred this particular video. You can see ruby red tips there, flushing dark olive green, very, very wide and broad foliage with a deeply serrated edge, a multitude of barbs and laces on the actual new shoots themselves, protecting that young foliage as it marches forward to flowering. This particular rose was still in flower in December last year and already bedding up, already in early April to flower again. So a fabulous new variety from David Austin. That one is Dannahue. Up at the top of the shop, a lovely, very, very pale pink rose, gentle Hermione, producing very, very high gloss leaves indeed. You can see a really lovely olive green, gunmetal green coming through from that one, really lovely. Next to that, a fabulously hard-working rose, Olivia Rose Austin, once again with those scarlet ruby red tips. Foliage always already very, very deep emerald green and high gloss in its sheen. Next to that, a beautiful rose, which is actually Gertrude Jekyll, producing massive, really, really wide and broad foliage, deeply crunkled and textured, absorbing all of the light there as well. Moving round the table for you, 1 or 2 roses still to show you. As I say, this is not the entire collection. Don't forget, all of these roses have their own individual personal rose review. You can find them on Instagram, you can find them on TikTok, you can also find them on YouTube. Introduced in 2022, the fabulous Bring Me Sunshine, my currently #1 rated rose until June of this year. You can see a lovely flushing to the foliage there, already colouring up and bringing through a lovely leaf colour. And last but by no means least, 2 roses to go. We've got James Galway just here, already coming up to flower. And in the top, the rose that actually sparked this particular video, a combination rose launched by David Austin only 4 or 5 years ago, Gabriel oak, with its very, very distinctive blackberry coloured stems and red foliage, already flushing through with that scarlet edging around the outside. This is very, very natural for this time of year. Please don't be aware or alarmed by this particular coloration. Gabriel oak is a very, very attractive bush in all of its stages. And in stark contrast next to that, the sister rose of Harlow carr, the country parson, you can see once again laced with black currant coloured thorns, very, very light and fresh green foliage, very, very pale indeed. So all of them all together, let's just pan out for you so you can see everybody lined up. 25 different foliage types for you, all very, very natural, everybody looking exactly as they should do at this time of year. Just a very small snippet of the foliage colours and textures that are available at this time of year. Unfortunately, a lot of this colour will flush out as the plants move forward to flowering and the hormone levels start to change. But once they're all lined up like this, you get a serious impression of the very, very different foliage types that are on offer. Absolutely all normal. If you have any queries or questions about the subject, please don't hesitate to ask. One of the things I'm going to be adding to my rose reviews this year, again something that you, my followers and subscribers, have actually asked me to do, is to add an inventory of foliage colours and textures to my video and library bank. So I should be posting a lot of these little videos for you to give you a really detailed explanation of each particular shrub. I'll be adding that media to my inventory over this coming summer, making sure that I'm showing you all of the colours, the foliages and the textures as well as obviously last year adding my 10-star favourites rating. Don't forget, this year during National Rose Month, there are lots and lots of rose reviews coming from me. We've got full reviews on the 2 releases from last year, which were Dannahue. That one had its first impressions, but will have its full personal review this year. A full personal review also coming from Penelope Lively, launched also in 2023. Along with another 18 personal rose reviews of older roses within David Ossian collections, and obviously my first impressions of the new variety or new varieties launched this year, either at Chelsea Flower Show or Hampton Court. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please don't forget to like, follow, share and subscribe, and leave a comment if there's anything that you need assistance with.